1, 2, 3. Terah.
No,
Terah.
I'm guessing.
Terah. T-E-R-R-A. Terah. Do you know who Abraham's brothers were? Okay.
Well, we know his nephew.
Nahor and Hamrad. Nahor and Hamrad. Do you know who Lot's father was? Lot.
Nahor?
No, Harad. Harad. Okay. In what land did Harad die? In the land of his nativity, which was 2 letters. You are. You are.
Of the Chaldeans.
Yeah. Here are. What is the name of Nahor's wife? I think. Okay. Milcad. Now we studied this. We went over this. So, okay. Now this one, you ought to get this one. What is the name of Abraham's wife?
Sarah.
Hey!
Sarah.
Got one.
Changed to Sarah.
Okay. Was Abraham the oldest son of Terah? Was Abraham the oldest son of Terah?
I don't recall that.
Anytime you read in the Bible, you'll see where Abraham's name is mentioned first.
So that means he's the firstborn.
But in this case, he wasn't. He was not. Okay? It's mentioned first only because God chose him to be the leader. He's going to be chosen. So his name was first. But even though that, just like we talked about a little while ago, we talked about Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Jacob. Remember, that wasn't the way it was. The second one was the youngest. Okay? The Lord said unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country unto the land which I will show thee. What land was that?
Canaan.
It doesn't say. Or near. If you look in that chapter, it'll say, We'll show ye what land it is in 12:1, Genesis 12:1. He didn't tell him the land. It may have been Canaan down the road, but he didn't tell him at the time what land it was going to be. Very, very good. Okay? Now,
Trying to encourage us.
this one here, we've been going through the study of Abraham and Sarah. Now, I decided to stop there for a minute and go to something else, and we'll come back to that later if we have time. I'm sure we will. Now, it says Abraham and Sarah, they didn't have any children. She was barren. No children. That's why she took the handmaid of Hagar. But God told her that she was going to have a child later. But she was barren at the time. Now, Isaac, of course, he married Rebekah. Same thing. She was barren until God told her. Yeah. And the third one was, remember Hannah? Remember Hannah? She had Samuel. Remember, she was barren. She wanted a kid. Zechariah and Elizabeth, they were barren. They had John the Baptist. Now, all those people I just mentioned were used, okay? Now, Abraham's wife Sarah, she was barren, but Isaac was going to be the one who's going to lead Israel. He's going to be used of God. God was going to use him, okay? Then we come to Rachel with Jacob and Esau. Jacob's going to be used, and God's going to use him. And Samuel, God's going to use Samuel. Zechariah and Elizabeth, John the Baptist is going to be used. They're all going to be used. Now, how many of you remember anything about the Shunammite woman? She was barren. You have no kids. The Shunammite woman. Now, I studied that this week. I thought about that because you usually don't hear too much about her. She doesn't fit in like the others do, okay? So what I want to do, I want to read a little bit about and see what you can find out. I found out a couple things as I read it. I'm going to see if maybe you can catch those things too. Okay, if you want to turn there to 2 Kings chapter 4. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 8. We're going to pick it up here. Now, a lot of this here, I'm going to paraphrase. I'll be paraphrasing some of it. So stick with me, okay? In verse 8 it says, And it fell on a day that Elijah passed through Shunem, where was a great woman. Now, when it says a great woman, and she contained him to eat bread. The great woman, well, she was wealthy. She was very wealthy. She is in need of anything. Okay? So when the prophet came by with his servant, what I call servant, it could be an apprentice. Okay? Now, Gehazi was an apprentice of Elijah. He went with him, and he was learning as he went there. Now, they passed through there quite often, past her house, and she wanted to come in and have a little tea, crimpets, have a little lunch, okay? He came by. He was a prophet. And she was wealthy. She wanted to do it. So she did this. Now, it says here, constrained to eat bread. So it was that as often as he passed by, he turned in hither to stop over for bread. Stopped over for a little snack, so to speak. She invited him to come in and have a little snack when he passed by, and quite often, him and his servant. Now, she said unto her husband, behold, now I perceive that he is a man of God, which passes by continually. Let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and let us set for him a bed, a table, a stool, a candlestick. And when it shall be when he cometh to us, that he shall turn in here. Now here comes the man, often, him that goes by here. He comes in, have a little snack, a little bread, a little refreshment, so forth. And he got to know him a little bit, okay, as he passed by. Then she says to her husband, let's make a little prophet's chamber, a little house on the side of the wall we can build for him. Not too big, but we put a bed, a stool, and all the things that she said here, okay? A table, a stool, a candlestick. And when he comes in, he shall turn in. You can stay here, a little place for you to stay, okay? And your servant Gehazi can stay with you. Now, wasn't it very nice of her? That was very nice of her. Her hospitality, she could do this to her. And he was happy about it. He was sure, thank you. This is good. Okay, now, there's 11. And it fell on the day that he came hither, and he returned into the chamber and lay down. He came by to the house where she made it. He came in, take a nap. He laid down. Nothing unusual about that. And he said to Gehazi, his servant, call the Shunammite. And when he had called her, she stood before him. Yes. You want me? What do you want? Okay. He called and she stood before him. And he said unto him, in other words, Elijah said to his servant Gehazi, say now unto her, behold, thou hast been careful for us. Very nice of you to do this. Very nice of you to feed us and give us a place to stay. You're very kind. You're very nice with your care. So it to be done for thee. Wouldst thou be spoken for to the king or to the captain of the host? Can I put a good word in for you with the king or with the captain? Can I do something for you for what you did for me? Okay. This is her answer. And she said, I dwell among my own people. Don't need it. I'm independent. I don't need anything. I don't need to know the king or the guards or anybody. I'm in need of nothing. I'm fine. Okay? Now, and he said, what then is it to be done for you? Well, what can I do for you? I want to do something for you from all you did for me. You don't want me to speak to the king. You don't want me to speak to the guard. What can I do for you? It says here, and he said, what then is it to be done for thee? And Gehazi, not Elijah, Gehazi, his servant, answered, verily she had no child, and her husband is old. She has no children, and her husband is old. Did she ask to have a child? Did Hannah ask to have a child?
Yeah.
Samuel? Did the others ask to have a child? Yeah. She didn't even ask for a child. She was content without a child. Okay? And he said, call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, about the season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. And he shall say, and she said, nay, my Lord, thou man of God, do not lie unto thy handmaid. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. That's what she said. And the woman conceived and bare a son at the season of Elijah had said unto her, according to the time of life, 9 months. And when the child was grown, and it fell on a day that he went out to his father to reap. The young lad was probably a little bit older now. And he went out with his father to reap, to work on the farm, do a little bit of work with Dad. Fine, okay? Now, and when the child was grown, he fell on a day that he went out to his father to reap. And he said unto his father, my head, my head. And he said to the lad, carry him to his mother. He's having something wrong with his head. He was complaining about his head, and I believe that he passed out. Because it says here, to the lad, carry him to his mother. Now, if he was okay, he could walk, but he said, carry him to his mother. So he went there. And when he had taken him, they brought him to his mother and sat him on her knees till noon. And then he died. He sat on his mother's knees when he came back. He was probably still alive a little bit, I guess, because he said until noontime, and then he died. The child died. Now, and she went up and lay him on the bed of the man of God and shut the door upon him and went out. She kept her son up and put him on the bed that Elijah she had made for him when they came by, put the child on there, closed the door, and went. Now, the child was dead, because it says, and then he was dead. Now, verse 22. And she called unto her husband and said, send me, I pray thee, one of the young men and one of the animals, that I may run to the man of God and come again. I want to go to the man of God. Now, when I read it, I'm sure if she wanted to go to the man of God for help or to chastise him, to say, look what she did. I don't know. Now, verse 22. And he said, wherefore wilt thou go to him this day? It is near the new moon or Sabbath. And she said, I shall go. Well, I'm going anyway. I'm going. Okay? Then she saddled the animal and said to her servant, drive and go forward. Slack not thy ride for me, except I bid thee. In other words, go fast as you can. Go fast as you can. Get the animals moving. So she went and came into the man of God to Mount Carmel, where he was. And it come to pass, when the man of God saw her afar off, he said to Gehazi his servant, behold, yonder is the Shunammite woman. It's that woman's coming here. We know her. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, is all well? Is there well with her husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, it is well. She answered, it was well. If you read that in verse 26. And when she came to the man of God, to the hill, she caught him by his feet, and Gehazi came out and thrust her away. In other words, get away, you can't do this, the man of God, don't you grab his feet. He wanted to thrust her away from him, get away. And the man of God said, let her alone. Let her alone. Now, for her soul is vexed within herself, and the Lord hath hid it from me. He had not told me. The Lord didn't tell him that the woman was coming and what happened. Sometimes the Lord would tell the prophet ahead of time what was going to happen. He didn't tell him. So he was all, didn't know what was going on. He didn't know if it was her husband or child, what was going on, and she was all upset, and she came up at his feet. Now, then he said, let me see, to thrust him away, okay. And it said, verse 28, and he said, did I desire a son of my Lord? Then she said, did I desire a son of the Lord? Did I tell you I wanted a son? No. He didn't tell him he wanted a son. Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, do not deceive me? Why did you do this to me? She wasn't a happy camper. I didn't tell you I wanted a son, but you gave me a son anyway. And now look what happened to that boy. Did I say not deceive me? Do you notice here, and so far as we're going, it's not like the others, is it? It's not like when Hannah had Samuel. It's not like when all the others. They wanted a child. And they were happy, they were glad. And God even named him. Here it's a little different. She didn't even want a child. Okay? Did I desire a child? Verse 20. Then he said to Gehazi, gird up thy loin, take my staff in thy hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. In other words, don't take time to talk to anybody on the way. Just go straight for him and salute any man to him. And lay my staff upon his child's face. Lay my staff upon his face. Now, laying a staff on a dead child would symbolize the prophet's claim upon that child. He claimed that child. No one else. That's what that staff was supposed to be for. Now, and the mother of the child said, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. He told Gehazi to go put the staff on. He was going to stay there. And the woman said, I ain't leaving here. I'm not leaving till you come with me. And he came. So, and Gehazi passed on before them, and laid his staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing. No answer to the child when he put that staff on him. He thought maybe he would come out of it. He raised him up. Nothing. Nothing. Now, wherefore he went again to meet him and told him, saying, the child is not awake. Nothing happened there, Elijah. I put the staff like you told me, but nothing happened. And when Elijah was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and he lay upon a bed. He was dead. Now, it emphasizes that a lot, that he's dead, not knocked out, not unconscious, not in a coma, but dead. Okay? And he went in, therefore, and shut the door upon them. In other words, the wife and his servant was outside. He closed the door. Elijah's in there with the boy alone. And he prayed to the Lord, Elijah. He prayed to the Lord. Okay? And when he went up, he lay upon the child. And he put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. That was because he was dead. He was cold. Dead cold. You ever hear that? He's cold dead? Cold. So when Elijah laid on top of him, his face to face, eyes to eyes, mouth to mouth, hand to hand, the heat from Elijah was the heat of getting heat from the child that was dead. Okay? He waxed warm. Then he returned and walked in the house to and fro. Elijah, after he did what he could do, and nothing happened. So he went down and he was walking to and fro. Like, what do I do here? What's going on here? More or less, I figured that out. And then he returned and walked in the house to and fro. And he went up again and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times. When he laid upon him the second time, the child sneezed. But he prayed to the Lord before he went up. He prayed. And he went up. And when the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. Now, why 7 times?
Perfect, the number.
The next chapter over, you're going to see where Elijah goes to Naaman the leper. And he tells him to dip in the Jordan River how many times?
7.
7 times. So number 7 must have some kind of, Lord created the earth and everything in 6 days, and on the
7th day he rested.
7th day, 7 again. Okay, so that 7 must have some kind of number in it. Okay, now, and she called Gehazi and said, "Call the Shunammite." So he called her, and she went, coming to him, and he said, "Take up thy son, take up thy son." And she went and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground, and looked upon her son, and went out. Her son was alive. He came back alive. But here's how the story ends. It says, she went in and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground, and took up her son, and went out. And it stops right there. You never know the boy's name. The boy was never used of God. Like Samuel was used, not all the others were used of God. He's never mentioned. He never was used by God. You don't even know his mother's name. She was a Shunammite. That's what she was. But not her name and her father's name. But he wasn't used. And I thought that was interesting myself when I read that. I was thinking, there's one out of all the others we know, but one Shunammite woman is mentioned in the Bible, but it doesn't say.
Wasn't Ruth Shunammite?
No, she was a Moabite. Moabite.
Thank you.
She's the only one that didn't pray for a child.
Who's that?
The Shunammite.
No, yeah, she didn't,
prayed
right.
for a child.
Right, she didn't pray for a
Maybe
child.
that's the reason he wasn't used, the son. Who's to say?
One, I was thinking, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. He was a Shunammite, he wasn't an Israelite. All the others are Israelites. The line, remember the line?
Oh, yeah,
But he wasn't in that line,
true.
right?
I'm wondering how long he was dead, because if she had to get on a horse or a donkey and ride, like, what was the length of time by the time Elijah got back to do all that?
Well, the length of time probably wouldn't matter, no matter how long it was. I don't think it would matter.
I guess
Just like to know.
Because, remember,
he was a Jew, was
what do you think, who was it? Lazarus was dead for how many days?
4.
Then he went. He didn't go the first day and heal him. He waited 4. Then he went and healed him up. Lazarus come forth, okay? We see here that he was used, but I don't think he was an Israelite. I think he was a Shunammite. But yet God still healed him. God still raised him up. And God was showing that woman that there is a God. Because she knew he was a religious man, so to speak, okay? But could he do this? And he gave her a son that she didn't even ask for.
because she was kind.
She was kind. He offered her anything you want. Say, what do you want? It's like the 3 wishes, you know. What do you want? Take them. And Gehazi was the one that said, she has no children. And her husband's old. That's probably what she wants. All right. And he wasn't used. That's what got me. That through all that, you think he would be used or something, but he never mentioned again. It just ends there. We never know her name, her husband's name, or child's name. I don't know. At first, when I first read this, I'm thinking, sometimes when you see where they don't mention any names, it's a parable. Okay? Now, did you ever hear, you heard the story many times? The prodigal son? Prodigal son went off, and the brother and the father. People say, oh, yeah, that's a parable. You know that, don't you? That's a parable. There's no names. The father, the son, brother, never gives any names. Okay? Now, you got to be careful with parables sometimes. Because I was dealing with Jehovah's Witness one time, and I was telling them about the rich man died and went to hell, and he asked Lazarus to dip his finger on his tongue, and he said, it's a parable. He says, that's a parable. It's only a picture of showing you what it was. I said, when the Bible says, and there was a rich man in hell, either there was or there was not. When it says there was, and he names the people, Abraham, the beggar was in his arms, but he never mentioned the rich man's name. But the rich man had 5 sons. And he told them to go get my sons because they don't want them to come to hell. Okay? So that's not a parable. People say, oh, it's a parable. No, not a parable. Because he names names. Anywhere where you name a name of a person, it's usually not a parable. But here I thought about it. I said, maybe it's a parable. Because there's no names. Elijah is named. Gehazi is named. And what he did, either Elijah raised her up or he didn't raise the boy up. So he did. So it's not a parable.
What line was the Shunammite?
Hmm?
What line, what line?
The Shunammite?
Yeah, who did they come, what line did they come from?
I couldn't tell. I don't know. I could look it up, but off my top of my head, I don't know. The Shunamites were. They all came from Adam and Eve. They all came up to the line with Noah. So it had to be eventually one of those.
I was just curious at what line, so I
Yeah.
guess that's another subject.
But I don't believe that she was an Israelite tribe because the Shunammite wasn't that. Maybe that's why he wasn't used. Maybe that's why he wasn't named. I don't know.
But it's in the book?
Yeah.
Who put it in the book?
It's there, and it's true, and it's not a parable. It actually happened.
Probably for us today to have faith. Nothing's
Right.
impossible.
I thought about different ways, I'm thinking about, does God only heal his people? Does God heal the unsaved?
I believe he can just do whatever he wants.
Sure he does.
Yeah.
The next chapter, Naaman the leopard. He wasn't a Jew. He wasn't an Israelite. He was against it. He healed him of leprosy. So God does heal both for a purpose. Because when Naaman was healed, he took some earth back. He knew God was God after that. See? And I believe this woman here knew that there was a God. Because she knew that Elijah was a man of God. And he proved it. Not only did he told her he's going to have a son, but he healed the son. Again, raised him up. That's what he did. Now, that had to either strengthen her faith. I don't know how it could not strengthen her faith after that. She knew the child was dead because she said he put him on her knees and said he was dead. Then she took him up and laid him on the thing. Then she went and go to find him. So he was dead a few days, and he brought him back. Anybody for anyone? I thought that story myself was interesting when I was reading it because all the others kind of made sense. Hannah, one of the kids, she wanted to have Samuel, and all of them fits in, and that's okay. But when I read this, it don't fit.
It's the faith of that woman that she knew she could go to that man and
Yeah.
it's her faith,
I thought the Shunammite one was something. Usually, where am I at here? Stick with me for a second, or 2 seconds, or more. Okay. What was I saying? I forgot. Had a senior moment. You had them senior moments, haven't you? Anybody ever have them?
Oh, yes.
If you ever had a senior moment, stick your hand up.
Oh man, I'm already having them.
If you ever had more than one, stick the other hand up. Now, I'll tell you right now, I got one. All right?
Example, this morning, I'm looking for a card that I either sent or I can't find it in the house. Her birthday's on Friday. So why would I send it that way then?
That's pretty bad if you don't know if you mailed it.
That's one of my great-granddaughters. But that was a senior, it's a senior moment.
Yeah.
Oh my
Went
goodness.
all over the house where I would have.
I could turn around and totally lose my thought. And
Yeah.
what did I
In
just,
the mail slot.
what was I doing?
Like I said, I got one out. What are we doing here? Okay.
Help us.
Now we're going to go back to pick it up for a few minutes where we were last week. Okay. We're going to start out with Sarah, Abraham's wife. Sarah was 107 and 20 years old, 127 years old, the years of her life, and Sarah died. Okay. Sarah had died. Now, this is something here. In verse 24, chapter 24 of Genesis, it says here, "And Abraham was old, well stricken in his age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all that things that he did. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that rules over all that he had." Now, who was that? Anybody know who that is? I read that again. Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all the things. And Abraham had said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray thee, thy hand under thy thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife to my son Isaac. Whew. Two things, okay? Who was his servant? It says here, Abraham said there was the eldest servant of his house that had charge of all his money, all his things, everything he had charge of, his servant. If you go to Genesis 15:2, you'll see that it's Eleazar. Eleazar, his servant, well-favored. And he picked him to go get a wife for his thing. Now, he gave him charge over everything he had. Okay? So now we're going to see what happened. Verse 8. He sent him out to his, the second part of that says here, it says, but thou shalt go into my country and take a wife unto my son Isaac. But thou shalt go unto my country? Hear anything stand out there? Why did he leave his country?
God told him
Why did God tell him to?
because
He was sending them somewhere else. We didn't know.
Because they were a bunch of idol worshippers.
right.
They were a bunch of idol worshippers. Why is he telling him to go back to my country where idol worshippers and get a wife for my son? I wonder why. I don't know why. Okay. Now he said, go. And he obeyed and went. And it's verse 8 says, and the woman will not be willing to follow me. What do I do? And thou shalt be clear of this oath. Only bring not my son hither again. Don't bring him back here again. I don't want him to marry a wife of the Canaanites. Don't bring him here. Okay? I want him to get a wife of my people in my country, even though they were idol worshippers. Okay? So we said, okay. And his servant took 10 camels of his camels of his master, and he departed. For all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he rose and went to Macedonia unto the city of Nahor. That's Nahor, the brother, one of his uncles, his relatives. And he made a camel kneel down without the city by the wall of the water at the evening time. The woman who go out to draw water every time, I guess at evening time, they all go out and draw water for their animals or for their house or whatever. And he said, O Lord, my God, Master, my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day and show kindness unto my master Abraham. He prayed to the Lord, show kindness to my master Abraham, so I know how to get the right woman for his son. Now, I don't know who it is. I don't know how to pick this woman. What do I do? This is what he does. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And it come to pass that the damsel who would, I shall say, let down the pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give the camels drink also. Let the same be she. When these women come out to draw water for their animals or for themselves, I'm going to ask one of them. I'm going to say, would you give me some water for me and for my animals? Now, you would think, get your own water. We think I am. You know? Or say, well, the water's over there. Go help yourself. But the one who answers, okay, and it come to pass that the damsel whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink, that she say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink. Also, she will say, I will give thy camels drink also, and I will give the camels drink also. And the same shall be how thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto him. I want to find out which woman is this going to be. I want to get the right one. Okay? So when I say let down the water, she will let down the water so I may drink, and she'll say, oh, let me get water for your camels also. That was the sign you waited to do. And it came to pass before he had done speaking that, behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Beru, the son of Micah, the wife of Nahor. Okay? You follow that one? Okay. Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulders. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down and drew to the well, and filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. Would you give me a little bit of drink of water? And she said, drink, my lord. And she hastened and let down her pitcher upon her hand, and gave him drink. And she said, and when she had done giving drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have drunk. That's the one. She answered just what he said he was going to do. The woman did. She said, I'll even get water for your camels. And that's what he asked God to do that. So he knew this is the woman. Okay? And she had done giving him drink. She said, I will draw water for thy camels also. And she hastened and emptied the pitcher and gave him water of the trough. And the man wondered at her, held his peace, where the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. I hope this is the right one. And it came to pass that the camels had drunk, and the man took golden earrings, a half shekel of weight, 2 bracelets in her hand, and 10 shekels of gold. Where did he get them? Let's see this again. The man took golden earrings, a half shekel of weight, 2 bracelets for her hand, 10 shekels of weight of gold, and said, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee. Is there room for thy father's house for us to lodge? And she said, I am the daughter of Reuben, the son of Micah, which is bare to Nahor. And she said unto him, We have both straw and feed. And the man bowed down his head and worshipped the Lord. I believe that those things that he gave her, the bracelets, the necklaces, the gold and all, were Sarah's. Remember, Sarah had died? They were wealthy. Abraham was wealthy. He had plenty. He gave him 10 camels. He gave him bracelets, gold, silver, weights. He gave them all. I believe they were Sarah's jewelry that she had. He gave them to him. He gave to his future daughter-in-law, I guess you would say. He gave it to him, okay? Now, and he said, I am Abraham's servant. And the Lord had blessed my master greatly. See, here it is. He gave him flocks and herbs and silver and gold, men and servants, manservants and animals. And Sarah, master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and to him had given all that he hath. My master made me swear that thou shalt take a wife of the sons of the daughters of Canaanites who I dwell in. But thou shalt go up unto my father's house and to my kindred to take a wife. He told me the story that my daughter did not want to marry, my son didn't want to marry a son of a Canaanite. She wanted to marry my people. So that's where he went, and he found her. He has her. I want to hurry here. And I say to her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water. And she did. He mounted out. Okay, we don't have to go through that. Now, verse 50. And Laban said, If it's her brother, the thing proceeded from the Lord, we cannot speak to thee good or bad. If the Lord said, Come and get her to my son, I can't say no. Can't say yes, because the Lord's doing it. I'm not going to say against the Lord, so he's going to go with it. Okay? Cannot speak. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be the master's son's wife. And the Lord had spoken that to her. And it came to pass, when Abraham's servant heard these words, he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them Rebekah to her, and he also her brother, except his mother's precious things. He gave all the things that his mother had, I believe, to her. Now, and they called Rebekah and said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. I will go. And they sent away Rebekah with their sister, that was her sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and the men. We're going back to meet Isaac. He's back home. I'm taking a wife to him. He's going to come. I got the wife from my land, Abraham's land, where he was before, and he brought her. Now, remember I told you they were idol worshippers. Remember? Okay, but he got her. Come back. Now, we're not going to have time to finish out this part, but you'll see where she was riding a camel, and Laban said, You have my idol? She was taking his idol with him. Okay? But before we get there, it says here, And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the evening tide, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. Uh-oh, something's coming here. I'm working in the field. I see something. Coming. Okay? And Rebekah lifted up her eyes when she saw Isaac, and lighted off her camel. And she had said unto her servant, What man is this that walketh in the field? Who is this man? Is this the man of the field to meet us? And the servant had said unto his master, Therefore she took a veil and covered her face. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother's tent and took her, and she became his wife. And he had loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. And Isaac was 40 years old when he married her. 40 years old when he married her. I think we're going to wind this up here. Are there any questions about it so far? Well, I'll give you one little thing before we go. We got another minute, okay? Now, Abraham was old. He was well stricken in years. Abraham was about 175 years old almost, and his wife died. But it says here in verse 25, then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah.
That's what I don't understand.
Keturah.
I've read it.
And she had 6 sons. 6 boys with him at his old age. That boy, he's something else, ain't he? He had 6 sons. But he died, I think, at 175 years old. So we're going to close it out, and we'll go to the morning service. Father, any more questions first that we've talked about? Anything at all? Nothing? Okay, we'll close out. Father God, we thank you for this time together. It was pretty quick, but we learned and grew together this morning. Looking forward to the service to follow. We pray for a good day in your house, Lord. It's honor and glorifying to you. Lead us, guide us, and direct us. And we'll thank and praise you in Christ's name. Amen.